It's March already. I was busy animating Libertoons last week, so sorry for the delay, but it's time to look at the questions that $5 supporters asked in the month of February. Just 2 this month, and the first is from Josh Haven, who asks, do you foresee a future where computer security is so good that pentesters will be out of a job? Short answer, no. Computer security gets better and better, but computer systems also get more complex and more prevalent. And until we can find a universe to live in that allows a perfect system to exist, there will always be mistakes that are made, things that are overlooked, or even simply things that no one ever thought of. There have been a lot of security flaws found lately that theoretically could have been compromised decades ago, but it's so out of the box that no one even thought to do it until now. Another reason is the trade-off that always exists between security and usability. The more you secure a computer system or even a building from intruders, the more difficult you make it for people with a legitimate need to gain access. If you're a business, you don't want to keep customers from coming in. If you're a server farm or a data center, you don't want to keep people from accessing it. And so, if nothing else, there will always be the possibility of impersonation or social engineering. I mean, it's gonna be a while before we get a patch to update the flaws in humans. There's also the way that smaller compromises can be combined into bigger ones. I covered an example on my latest podcast where a simple password compromise on PayPal could be combined with the 2FA vuln to gain access, even if the user has secured his account with two-factor authentication, and then you combine that with yet another vuln to make an invalid money transfer. PayPal said, well, each of those individually weren't that bad. You can buy a compromised password on the dark web. Oh, but 2FA will protect you from that. Well, then use the 2FA vuln. Well, that would require the password already be compromised. And then the money transfer bug. Well, that would require someone to have access. Well, you put them together and you got a problem. The more traditional example is if you have a vuln allowing a non-user to come in as a regular user, and there are a lot of those that have been patched over the years, but the tendency is for the developers to write that off as not severe because you just come in as a user, you don't have administrative privileges, you don't even get access to any particular user, you've kind of just made a new user for yourself. But then the hacker combines that with a privilege escalation attack. And that's an attack that gives a regular user administrative access. And those are seen to be limited because, you already have to access the system in order to exploit it. You have to be an existing user. But if you combine the two, you have someone with no access. They use the first vuln to come in as a user, and from there they go upward to root access with the second exploit. And I can keep on going with reasons, but the bottom line is we can never be 100% sure we've secured a system. So there will always be a need for pen testers and white hat hackers. Adeeb asks, notwithstanding license laws and employer tax incentives, what do we know about life before Medicare that suggests it is a net loss to society? As coincidence would have it, I just finished a collab with my 2 cents on this very issue, so keep an eye out for that. Also check my usual videos, how to argue for universal healthcare and how to fix healthcare without spending a dime. As I related in the My 2 Cents collab, my mother was the child of a teenage single mother. She had her at 16 years old. She was from a poor farming family, and this was during the Great Depression, and yet they never did without medical insurance. I mean, okay, it didn't pay every time you blew your nose, but those additional requirements are an enormous reason why medical costs started skyrocketing around 1965. It began with Medicare. As Harry Brown pointed out, when Medicare first started, it was specifically written into law the government should have no say in what must be covered or what would not be covered. It didn't take Congress long to repeal that and pass all sorts of restrictions, and also to put those restrictions on medical insurance, as well as other intrusions like the HMO Act. Harry also showed a graph in The Great Libertarian Offer of the percentage of Americans with health insurance. It had actually gone up above 80% in the 60s and was continuing to rise, and it looked like it was going to become universal, and then government started meddling. You had the FDA amendments, you had Medicare and Medicaid, and you had all of this other stuff, and it started going right back down again. And as 2 Cents and I repeatedly said in our collab, the problem with all of these so-called solutions is that none of them do the one thing that actually would solve the problem: increase the supply of healthcare resources. In fact, almost all of them limit the supply, resulting in ever-increasing costs. Okay, that's it for February. If you'd like to ask a question for March, you can do so at the links in the video description. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe, and share this video everywhere to help make up for YouTube shadow banning. Also, YouTube tends to demonetize videos like this, so if you don't see an ad, how about making a small contribution? You can do so at donate.bogosity.tv using PayPal or crypto, or becoming a regular supporter at Patreon or Subscribestar, or watch my videos on bittube.tv, which is always monetized and never censored. Until next time, stay strong and be free.